Today, we're going to address a topic that may be somewhat uncomfortable but is essential for everyone's health. Stomach worms, also known as intestinal parasites, are organisms that can infect the human gastrointestinal tract and cause a range of unpleasant symptoms. Understanding the reasons you might have this infection is indispensable. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any important content. Intestinal worm infection occurs when parasites settle in the gastrointestinal tract of a host, such as humans or animals. These worms feed on the host's nutrients and can cause a variety of symptoms and health complications. There are different types of intestinal worms, such as nematodes, cestodes, and trematodes, each with specific characteristics and symptoms. Proper prevention and treatment are crucial to control and eliminate the infection, protecting the individual's health and well-being. Stay tuned until the end of the video to understand better. Risk factors. 1. Consumption of contaminated water or food. Ingesting contaminated water or food is one of the main ways to get infected with intestinal worms. Contamination can occur due to the presence of parasite eggs or larvae in untreated water, poorly washed food, or food prepared under inadequate hygiene conditions. By consuming these contaminants, the parasites enter the digestive system, where they settle and develop, potentially causing an intestinal infection. It's essential to always check the source of water and food, opting for well-cooked food and filtered or treated water to reduce the risk of intestinal worm contamination. 2. Direct contact with contaminated surfaces or infected people. Direct contact with contaminated surfaces or people already infected with intestinal worms is another common route of contamination. This can happen through sharing personal items, using public restrooms without proper cleaning, or intimate contact with infected individuals. Parasites can be transmitted through these interactions, especially if there isn't proper handwashing and personal hygiene practices. Maintaining good hygiene, washing hands frequently, and avoiding sharing personal items are essential measures to prevent intestinal worm contamination. 3. Lack of adequate personal hygiene. Not washing hands properly after using the restroom, before eating, or handling food can facilitate parasite transmission. Moreover, not showering regularly or adequately washing food before consumption are also risky behaviors. Personal hygiene is crucial to prevent intestinal worm and other parasitic infections. Therefore, it's essential to adopt rigorous hygiene practices daily to reduce the risk of infection. 4. Exposure to bites from parasite-transmitting insects. Exposure to bites from insects like mosquitoes and flies, which are parasite carriers, is another risk factor for intestinal worm infections. These insects can carry parasite eggs or larvae that, when deposited on human skin through their bites, can penetrate the body and cause infections. Areas with a high incidence of transmitting insects and poor sanitation conditions increase the contamination risk. Using repellents, appropriate clothing, and screens on windows and doors are important preventive measures to reduce exposure to parasite-transmitting insect bites. 5. Contact with feces or infected animals. Direct contact with human or animal feces is a significant risk factor for intestinal worm contamination. Feces may contain parasite eggs or larvae that, when in contact with the skin or ingested, can cause infections. Additionally, close contact with domestic animals like dogs and cats or wild animals like rodents and birds that are infected can also be a contamination source. Maintaining good hygiene, washing hands frequently, especially after using the restroom or handling animals, and regularly deworming pets are essential to prevent intestinal worm contamination. 6. Consumption of undercooked meat. Consuming undercooked meat from animals like pork, beef, lamb, and freshwater fish is another risk factor for intestinal worm contamination. These animals may harbor parasite larvae or cysts that, when consumed raw or undercooked, can settle in the human intestine and cause infections. Meat should always be adequately cooked to a safe internal temperature to eliminate any contamination risk. Adopting safe food handling and preparation practices is crucial to reduce the risk of intestinal worm infection. 7. Travel to endemic areas for worm infections. These areas include tropical and subtropical regions where environmental conditions favor the spread and transmission of intestinal parasites. Contact with contaminated water, food, or soil in these regions increases the chance of ingesting worm eggs or larvae. When planning trips to these areas, it's essential to take precautionary measures, such as consuming bottled water, avoiding raw or poorly washed food, and using repellents to protect against parasite-transmitting insects. Prevention and care. To avoid intestinal worm contamination, it's essential to adopt specific hygiene and care practices. Here are the recommended measures. 1. Wash hands frequently. Hand washing is one of the most effective measures to prevent intestinal worm contamination. It's essential to wash hands with soap and water regularly, especially after using the restroom, before eating, and when handling food. This habit helps eliminate parasites and bacteria that may be present on hands, significantly reducing the infection risk. Use running water and scrub hands vigorously for at least 20 seconds, ensuring the cleaning of all areas, including between fingers and under nails. 2. Wash food thoroughly before consumption. It's crucial to wash food thoroughly before consuming it. Fruits, vegetables, and greens should be washed under running water, gently scrubbing to remove soil residues, pesticides, and possible parasite eggs. Additionally, it's advisable to soak food in a water and vinegar solution for a few minutes and then rinse again. This practice helps eliminate microorganisms and parasites that may be present, ensuring food safety and preventing intestinal infections. Avoid contact with animal feces. Contact with animal feces, whether domestic or wild, is one of the ways to get infected with intestinal worms. It's essential to avoid direct contact with feces and maintain good hand hygiene after handling animals or cleaning areas where they may defecate. When engaging in outdoor activities or in rural areas, it's important to wear appropriate footwear and avoid sitting or lying directly on the ground. Additionally, when taking care of pets, it's recommended to keep their living areas clean and regularly sanitized. If you found value in this video and believe it can be useful to others, don't hesitate to leave your like and share it with your friends and family. And if you have any experience or questions about the subject, share them in the comments below. Stay informed and adopt healthy habits to protect your health. Take care and see you in the next video.